Listen, I know Brockhampton is mostly a buzzword right now, but we still gotta talk about this. It's summertime, which means I have a lot of time to doom scroll for hours on end on my phone. And one thing that I've been seeing repeatedly on TikTok is people reminiscing about Brockhampton. The music, the clothes, the concerts, all of which have resurfaced in this big year of 2025, which is like over 10 years after Brockhampton was founded. I am so old. People finding love once again for the group that redefined what it meant to be a boy band, a genre-defining group of friends who just love to make music. To posting mashups or lip-syncing videos, or trying to find the new Brockhampton, which is what we're gonna talk about. In this wake of reminiscence over Brockhampton, people have been scouring the internet to find the next Brockhampton. The next group of people that will bring this genre-defining energy into music while still having a lot of fun with it. But is it possible that in the search for a new Brockhampton, we're putting a lot of these new musicians and creators into a box and forcing them to live up to these comparisons? Well, it's a great thing you asked, because that's why I'm making this. I want to talk about why Brockhampton was so special. I want to talk about finding a new Brockhampton and why that very phrase can be a little damaging to our new and upcoming artists. And if any of that sounds interesting to you, stick around, because my name is Henry, I love music, and this is where I talk about it. That sounded so cringy. If you can't tell, I'm not good at intros, so we're gonna keep going. If you clicked on this video, you probably know who Brockhampton was, so there's a good chance you don't want me to explain who Brockhampton was. And if you're that kind of person, you can skip to right here, because I'm going to explain who Brockhampton was really quick. Brockhampton was a group created in 2014 by artist Kevin Abstract in San Marcos, Texas. The group's lineup changed a lot throughout its lifespan, but the final members were Kevin Abstract, Matt Champion, Marilyn Wood, Dom McLennan, Joba, Bareface, Jabari Manwa, Romil Hemnani, and Kiko Merli. There are a handful of other people that were in the group at different points in time, as well as other people who helped out with certain stuff in the group, but weren't officially members. This group was musically active from 2014 to 2022 with albums such as the Saturation Trilogy and Iridescence, and hit songs like Sugar and Bleach. The group went through several controversies, like former member Amir Van getting kicked out for sexual misconduct and planning a home robbery of one of his friends, which I actually don't think they found out of until after he got kicked out. And overall disagreements of the group members, which caused them to break up in 2022, releasing their final album, The Family, and then an album the day after called TM. There has been no activity from Brockhampton since then. The members have gone off and done their own things. There's a really great video, I believe, that's titled Where Every Brockhampton Member Is Now. I don't remember if it's the actual title, but that's what I remember it being. You should go watch it. But everyone has moved on and started doing their own thing. But the only people that haven't moved on are the fans. Brockhampton was very special in the sense that it combined a lot of different genres like rock, hip-hop, R&B, and pop, and created kind of a band that you didn't know what to expect. Each member of this group had something different to provide. They had something different that they brought to the table, and they made full use of that. For example, Bareface had a great voice and was able to produce really, really well. And Kevin was a very great rapper. Talents that are on completely different sides of the spectrum, but combined created this very layered group. Combined with their very experimental and eclectic production style, their use of vocal layering, and other fun stuff like that, the group was just so captivating. Take, for example, Saturation 2, where the intro track, Gummy, is a very bouncy hip-hop track. It's very reminiscent of early hip-hop from like the 80s and 90s. Moving on later into the album, you get the song Summer, which is this very slow, melodic, rock, pop song that has a completely different vibe and different genre from the first track. But this whole album and everything in it makes these two songs work together. It's something that few groups have ever done correctly, and Brockhampton was very fortunately one of them. But as I mentioned, this group fell apart in 2022 and went on an indefinite hiatus, but they have started to return in popularity in this year, 2025. I've seen the song Bleach from Saturation 3 used a lot on TikTok recently. And just more people talking about Brockhampton in general, which is causing more people to find Brockhampton's music and more people to wish there was a new Brockhampton. And here is the start of the dilemma we're getting into. A new Brockhampton. Now, using the phrase new Brockhampton, you're already giving who you're trying to find this very long list of characteristics and comparisons that they have to live up to. And on top of that, with wanting a new Brockhampton, you want to find someone who sounds very, very similar, almost like a clone, and that's the problem we've been getting into recently. There are a lot of boy bands or groups of musicians on TikTok who people have been comparing to Brockhampton, but the main problem is that if we're going to only look for a new Brockhampton, that means these groups will be living in the shadow of Brockhampton and have this gigantic legacy to live up to instead of being able to create their own name for themselves. But I also understand that there are scenarios where this comparison is unavoidable. For one, there are groups or bands who are playing off of Brockhampton's recent popularity and comparing themselves to Brockhampton. In this case, they're putting themselves in that shadow, they're giving themselves this legacy to live up to, and you can't really complain about that if you're the one doing it. On top of that, there may be groups who are trying to directly copy Brockhampton's style of music. I know I said they bounced around different genres a lot, but they still had like a theme about them. A theme that can be replicated and that people try to replicate all the time. And if that's what's happening, you can't really avoid the comparison. If any of those things happen, you can't really control getting compared. But it's detrimental when these people haven't asked for the comparison or haven't done anything to deserve the comparison, and now they're just kind of stuck in the shadow. And this is something that happens a lot within the space of artists that haven't released music in a long time or just haven't been active. For example, Frank Ocean. I see Frank Ocean people commenting all the time on people that make R&B music or music that sounds like Frank Ocean in general. Close Enough dropped the album, Frank Ocean is back, blah, 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 blah. I see it all the time, and this is exactly what's happening with Brockhampton now. Now, that being said, I do think there are groups right now that have that kind of like Brockhampton energy or that Brockhampton vibe, but are making their own way in music and releasing music that's unique to them. One example I always give to people that are looking for Brockhampton-ish music is the group Kids That Play. They've been making music for a while now, and I first started listening to them with their album Mike Tyson Jab. I thought that album was really good. Kids That Play is this massive group of friends that all just make music together, and it happens to be very, very good. They're able to bend genres very well, they're able to include a lot of different talents that their members have, and they just have fun on a lot of their songs. I think that's a big part that a lot of these groups are missing. And a more recent example is the group What More, who I think has not even released like their own single yet. They went super viral on TikTok for chopping up popular and trending songs and then having all of their members rap over it. The group is super diverse. They have people who rap, sing, and do all kinds of other stuff. I believe they produce their own music. I'm not 100% sure though. And again, a main part of why I like them so much is because they have a lot of fun with each other. It allows the group to mesh better together, and it allows us to have more fun listening to it. Another thing I want to mention while we're talking about groups like this is Kevin Abstract's new band Blush. There hasn't been a lot that's been revealed about this, just a release date and kind of an idea of what this all is. But Kevin has said that this new band isn't going to have any like permanently set members other than himself, and it's going to be just like a concept. I'm not really sure. Obviously people are relating it to Brockhampton because Kevin was the founding member of Brockhampton, but only time will tell how similar it's going to be. June 2025 is the release date that he's been throwing around a bunch, so I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. We'll see. And there's a lot of other groups that give off those Brockhampton vibes that are either up and coming or established. But I mean, like, we're not going to find a new Brockhampton. If the overarching question is, will we find a new Brockhampton? The answer will always be no, and it's not going to change. Posing this question about any artist walls off all of the originality of upcoming artists. You're not going to be able to find music that differs from an artist if you're trying to find another version of that artist. If you want another example of this, I'm going to say it again. Frank Ocean. I'm sorry. Whenever I made my artist disappearance video, one of the first comments was, what's with all the Frank Ocean meat writing? And I'm sorry I bring him up so much, but he just like fits every example so well. There's this really great artist named Kamari. He makes really cool R&B, like more acoustic style songs. He's very, very good. All of his comments are about Frank Ocean. Every single one of them is, oh, close enough, drop the album, Frank, welcome back, Frank. A combination of those. And like, I guess his voice sounds a little similar, but in doing this, you're completely walling yourself off to fully enjoying his music, which relates back to the whole Brockhampton epidemic. If you're listening to these new groups or trying to find these new groups with the only expectation or want in your mind for them to sound like Brockhampton, you're never gonna fully enjoy their music because you're just gonna be sitting there and being like, man, I just wish this sounded as good as Saturation 3. And it's not. Nothing will sound as good as Saturation 3 to you because you're too close-minded. I'm sorry, that was abrasive. I apologize. I just feel like when it's all said and done, we shouldn't want to try and find new versions of Brockhampton or new versions of any of these artists. The legacy that Brockhampton has is cemented. All of their work will be there forever, and it's amazing. And so continuing on with this notion of I have to find the new Brockhampton, I have to find someone to fill that void, is just going to leave you so much more empty. Once you throw that comparison out of your brain and start to enjoy new music and new groups with the thought of, I'm not going to compare this to anything, this is just what it is, I think that'll help out those artists a lot. So next time you're typing on your keyboard in a comment section of a group of artists saying, welcome back Brockhampton, maybe stop, think a little bit, and say, thank you for being who you are. Or you can comment, welcome back Brockhampton, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Anyhow, I think that's all that I have to say. I just felt really passionate about this topic because of Brockhampton showing up a lot recently. I felt like I wanted to share. If you're new to this channel, you should subscribe. We're 150 subscribers away from 1,000, and that would just be really cool. I've built this whole thing on my own with no like prior like online or like public experience, so this is still really cool to me. In other news, this is very special information and you only get to know it right now because I'm not going to post about it anywhere until it happens. I am going to the Governor's Ball in New York. Yes, the music festival. How did I get there? I don't know. But I'm going. I'm going to be in New York for 5 whole days and I am going to try and vlog it while I'm there. Will it work? I don't know. Am I gonna try? Of course I am. But what that means for the channel is that next week may or may not have an upload. If I can figure out the whole vlogging situation and figure out what I actually want to do, you'll get daily uploads. If not, you'll have to wait 2 weeks. I'm sorry. But I'm very excited. It's gonna be a very fun trip and I hope I can vlog it because I want you guys to see how fun it is. So be on the lookout for that. Again, this is special information if you watch to the end of the video because I'm not gonna post about this anywhere until like I'm on the plane probably. So until then, I'll see you later. Goodbye.